Everybody, this is Pastor Tim Madison from Bainbridge First Baptist Church, Bainbridge Island, Washington, and here we are. If you're watching this, it's probably Sunday evening, and you're looking forward to the end of the Lord's Day. Now you're thinking back on some of the things that have happened today. For centuries, Sunday has been described as the Christian Sabbath. Today, that term has fallen out of use. In fact, it might be offensive to some people to think that the term Sabbath would apply to anything in the church today, but I think it's perfectly acceptable to describe Sunday in that way. And I'd like to think about that for a few minutes this evening from the Bible. Isaiah chapter 58 is our text, verses 13 and 14. Isaiah 58, 13 and 14. Verse 13, we read, If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord honorable, and shalt honor him, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words, then shalt thou delight thyself in the Lord. And I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father, for the mouth of the Lord hath spoken it. You know, Jesus was often criticized for breaking the Sabbath. Uh, did he really? Of course not. Jesus did not break any of the commandments, but his critics gave him a perfect opportunity to give us better understanding about what that really means. For example, in Mark 2:27 and 28, Jesus said, The Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath, and therefore the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath. What that means is that this special day is a gift of God for our benefit. The Sabbath day was not created to give us another rule to follow, but it's created because we need it, and God knew that, and He gave us the special gift of a day when we can focus on rest and worship. God Himself initiated the Sabbath principle centuries before the law was ever given. In fact, in Exodus 20 and verse 11, we read, In 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the seventh day and hallowed it. The principle is what's important. The word Shabbat in Hebrew does not refer to Saturday, but it means simply to stop or cease. And yes, the Jews did worship on Saturday, but it also applied to other days of the week. For example, the Day of Atonement was a Sabbath day. The Feast of Trumpets was a Sabbath day. And there were others as well. They could be on any day of the week. But the principle is what's important. In Exodus 29 and 10, it says, 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work. You stop, cease, you rest. 1 day out of 7. So how do we make the Sabbath a delight? Well, I would encourage you, begin on Saturday evening. In the Bible, days began in the evening. It went from evening to evening. Take time to pray as a family on Saturday night about the day to come. Ask God to bless it. Turn your thoughts to Him. Get to bed at a reasonable time so that you're uh, feeling great on Sunday morning while you're there in church instead of trying to just stay awake. And when the day arrives, number one, that's a day when we gather together. Forsake not the assembling of yourselves. Of course, that began on the day of resurrection when Jesus appeared to the disciples on Sunday evening. And then 1 week later, on the next Sunday evening, Jesus once again appeared to the disciples as they gathered together, and that became their common practice. So much so that by the time Paul wrote 1 Corinthians 16:2, where he said, Upon the first day of the week, let every one of you lay by him in store, as God hath prospered him. It was just assumed that on Sunday, Christians would be gathering together. Sunday was the day that John referred to as the Lord's Day. It's his special day for Christians. Now, on Sunday, set aside activities and recreation that would take your mind off the Lord. You know, there are so many things that we can do today for recreation and just for activities, but so many of them use up energy that that we don't need to expend, and force us almost to concentrate on the game or the activity or whatever it may be. But focus on activities that allow you maybe to pray or just to think about the Lord. Take a walk outdoors and enjoy fresh air and sunshine and nature, and allow that to turn your thoughts to the one who made it all. Read a good Christian book on a Sunday afternoon. Listen to some good Christian music. Make your Sunday a delight. And look at the promises again that were given. I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father. You know what? God wants to take a ride with you on those high places. And I know this Sunday is about over. You got a week to think about this, but I hope that next Sunday, as the day dawns, that you'll allow Him to do that and take you on that ride. Hope to see you then.